when I first started, I looked at my mentor and I was like, how do you teach and talk at the same time? What are you doing? My core is not strong enough to be able to do this.
To a layman who doesn't understand what Pilates is.
Pilates, even for me, it was the most confusing thing. I was like, what even is this? Think stretching, but with some sort of strengthening to it. A lot of us don't stretch because it's boring.
What are some of the biggest, now getting into nutrition, nutritional mistakes athletes are making so far?
I think my biggest one is relying on supplements too much. There's too much marketing on supplements. Literally all I hear about now is, oh, creatine, oh, creatine, oh, creatine.
Nutrition is expensive, is it?
It doesn't have to be. So again, being born and raised in this country has allowed me to see how nutrition doesn't have to be expensive, but it always depends what you as a person are wanting out of it.
An athlete who has about 300 to 500 shillings to spend a day, what kind of meal would you prepare with that?
100%, I'll give you a few options for each different macronutrient.
And now you got into nutrition. How did you get to transition into nutrition?
From that, I've always been disciplined. So that's, initially I wanted to be a zoologist. Boy, did I tell you, I love animals, but zoology is maybe not for me. Mom and dad were like, why don't you get into nutrition? I mean, like, I feel like you're disciplined enough, you love your exercise, you watch what you eat. And I was like, don't even know what that is, but sure, let's try. So I started reading up on this, and this was in 2015, 2016. Started to read up on it, started to find a few people that have been doing this for a while, that I could look up to and follow their kind of ways of doing things. And it was very new still, so not a lot was out there. And I then went into uni for it, and I was like, this is actually quite enjoyable. I like to do the behind the scenes work for athletes rather than being the athlete myself because of my anxiety levels. So I just felt more satisfied saying, hey, I can still do something, and the person is performing with me helping them. And so that's kind of why the nutrition came out. Then mom and dad have always been into the food industry. So it's kind of like a given. I knew my way around food in itself. And they've always preached a healthy kitchen. Italian culture is always preaching the Mediterranean diet, healthy eating, fresh produce, seasonal eating. And being in Kenya, the fact that we still have the old school way of doing things is quite nice, because my nanny always used to feed us Kenyan food. And it was such basic young food. And I was like, how is it possible that, we look for the burgers and the things and we have this and it's so much tastier. But then, our world decided to become more Western and urbanization kicked in, and it's like, lovely. Burger King right around the corner and McFries and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, we lose the sense of being in the kitchen and doing things as a community to stay healthy and live longer. So I guess that's what I'm trying to bring back slowly but surely.
Yeah, and I love the part that how you explain what's that process and how it impacts, families in terms of even friends, just bringing people together, cooking together. Yeah, the community aspect. Yeah, which is really powerful. And speaking of community, you're still around a community of Pilates?
Yeah. So during my uni, because I did uni, COVID hit. Wonderful experience. Might I tell you, it was the best experience of my life. I lost all of my uni experience, but I think it gave us a chance to see things in different ways. Pilates came in to kind of help me get through that moment mentally. I was in Scotland, and Scotland is great, but it's a very cold country, weather-wise, but also like trying to fit in. Italians and Kenyans are very warm. We're very welcoming. We like to have conversations. We like to smile at you if you're walking on the road and stuff. The Scottish are not so much like that. So trying to settle into that was kind of difficult. And then COVID didn't make things any easier. So I just started Pilates as a way to just help me with my breath. And I'm the kind of person that prefers exercises where I sweat. So yoga just was never for me. Pilates was another way of seeing this mobility kind of type of exercise, but with more dynamic movements to it. When I came back to Kenya, my mom took me to a few classes, and my teacher at that time was like, you should try become an instructor. And I was like, what would that mean? We found out what we could do to do the course, found an internationally recognized course here. I did it, happy days, passed the exam. And ever since then, I was like, this is fun. I actually enjoy teaching. I was never, when I first started, I looked at my mentor and I was like, how do you teach and talk at the same time? What are you doing? My core is not strong enough to be able to do this. And I don't even know how you remember all the movements we're supposed to do. So when I first started teaching officially, I had like my iPad with all the movements that we were going to do and the sequence. And I was like, I kept looking back and I was like, wait, make sure you don't forget. But then it just kind of kicked in. And I just managed to get into a flow kind of state where I switched completely from being fed to being that evil Pilates instructor. I call her Fed's twin. She comes in and she just does her thing, gets a good workout in, but it comes hand in hand with everything. It's a holistic approach to your body. You're moving your body, you're eating properly, you're training your brain to then work your body. And I think there's some beauty in that you become so in touch with your body that when something feels off, you immediately notice.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, unstoppable, because no one can manipulate your body at that point, and it's just you listening to it like we used to listen to it years ago. So that's kind of what I'm also hoping to transmit during my classes, that awareness and that acceptance of, yeah, I will feel the pain, but it's good pain, and so on.
And so on. So Pilates are hugely mobility. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And is it something that can cut across most athletes or most sports?
100%.
And maybe to a layman who doesn't understand what Pilates is, if you can explain it for...
We can dumb it down a little bit. So I think Pilates, even for me, it was the most confusing thing. I was like, what even is this? It's kind of like, think stretching, but with some sort of strengthening to it. So when you stretch, you take the time for, a lot of us don't stretch because it's boring, because it's breathing. And it's like, I need to stay here for 10 minutes holding the same position. I'm bored. So stretching is essentially you breathing because you allow your muscles to have more oxygen to lengthen. Pilates is doing just that, but adding some sort of dynamic movement allows the muscle to also create that resistance within itself to build strength. So how resistance training works is that you have an external weight or a resistance that you fight against or work against to create strength and break down your muscles for them to then rebuild after to become stronger. So it's a combination of lengthening the muscles, but at the same time, slightly breaking them apart for them to then be built up in a stronger way. So and we don't work the massive muscle groups. We don't look at the big quad muscles, the big biceps, the big triceps. We target them, but the focus is on the small muscles because those are supporting muscles for the big ones. If those are small, then there's no way that the big ones can strengthen the right way as well. So dumbed down, Pilates, you're essentially stretching, but you're also dynamically tightening and creating that strength within your body, within yourself, in the muscles, with some movement. And put those two elements, so the strength and the stretching together, we also have that awareness with your brain because you're using that breath. So yeah, your body is moving, but you're not just going to do 20 deadlifts and then weight done, 320 kilos out the window. I just hit my new PB. We're not looking for PBs in Pilates. We're looking for, how are you feeling mentally? What's your mental clarity? And then you see your progress in functional situations. When I pick up my shopping, my back doesn't hurt anymore. When I need to reach for something, I can actually get to it now. So it's more a functional rewards that you're given after Pilates rather than just like a number on a PB scale. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you say functionality, I think now, from what I hear, then most sports or active sports that involve change of direction, agility, those athletes should really, really be doing
100%.
Pilates.
I think if you're an athlete, there's no way you should be shying away from Pilates. And again, this is now something that's growing. So hopefully we don't miss the window like we missed it for nutrition. But Pilates is an accessory thing that you do. It's something you do for an active recovery kind of day, because it works for any sport you do, be it a racket sport, be it a ball sport, be it ballet, gymnastics, swimming, whatever it is. In any way, Pilates is created to help heal your body. And again, you being more in touch with your body, you're able to execute your sport better. And who doesn't want that? It reduces injuries, it increases your agility, breath power, core strength, and that all comes handy in any sport that you do. So get your ass on that mat. And we're not talking reformer. Get off that reformer. If someone comes up to me and is like, can we do reformer first? I will slap them, because we don't like reformer Pilates. Get to know the mat. The mat is harder. People are like, yeah, it's too hard. I'm like, that's the point. Sorry, when you train, do you tell your coach, no, I'm not coming today, it's too hard? No, you don't. Actually, your coach is going to tell you, yeah, do 20 more of those. That's the point. You need to feel the difficulty. I feel like in today's world, we don't understand difficulty anymore. We don't understand what it means to actually feel pain when you do an exercise, or accept the fact that I need to do 1,000 things today at the same time. I then need to do these things. It's like, I do one thing today and I've already done too much. Enough. I've done 100 meters. You want me to do more? No, thanks. I'm done for the day.
Yep. And when you look at Kenyan sports, the landscape today, what are some of the biggest now getting into nutrition, nutritional mistakes athletes are making so far?
I think my biggest one is relying on supplements too much. There's too much marketing on supplements. If you think about it, we were always given this kind of triangle, whereas at the bottom you had your food intake. So the biggest portion of your sports nutrition should be food intake. And then you would get into your hydration, because hydration is fundamental. You need to be hydrated in order to rehydrate your cells, re-regulate your temperature, keep going. Hydration is key. You have this thing called your fascia. If that around your muscles, it supports your muscles. If that's dehydrated, you start to feel pain. That's when injuries come in. At the top of that triangle, which is the smallest portion of the triangle, is your supplements. They only come in when you need that extra help. They're not supposed to be the biggest portion of your sports performance nutrition. And people rely on those too much now. Literally all I hear about now is, creatine, creatine, creatine. And I'm like, oh God, creatine. Like, it's great. I have no doubts. There's so much research on it. But what happened to I'm actually going to have a good meal today and have, rice with chicken and veggies, or maybe fish with pasta and whatever it is. It's just creatine now and protein shakes. And I'm like, Jesus Christ almighty. Okay, we have a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. But supplements is where people are getting lost, because it's a trend.
Because it's a trend. And microwave things, like
quick and convenient.
Quick and
convenient. Whatever is ready, people don't know how to cook anymore. That's why, coming back to that cultural aspect, when we were younger, our parents would teach us how to cook because their parents taught them how to cook, and so on. Now it's like, I speak to parents and I'm like, do you guys cook in the house? Oh, no, we don't. And I'm like, so the kids are going to grow up not knowing how to do anything. And they're obviously going to rely on convenient things. And then businesses are going to boom because they don't know how to cook. We're coming in and we're going to do it for them. So it's like, we're losing a fundamental skill, and that's survival, basically.
Yep. Which is really important. Super important, also in sports, right?
Oh, yeah.
Biggest nutrition lies athletes believe, and one of them is nutrition is expensive. Is it?
It doesn't have to be. So again, being born and raised in this country has allowed me to see how nutrition doesn't have to be expensive. You have products such as rice, which you buy a kilo of rice and you're set for a hot minute because it lasts you so long. And when you cook even just half a cup, it's a lot of rice. You have products like sukuma and cabbage that
Half a cup.
half a cup.
It's a
Sorry.
lot of rice.
It's a lot. Okay, it's a lot of rice for fudge.
Yeah.
But let's say it renders a lot, like cabbage does. You won't be eating half a cabbage yourself, surely, because when you cook it, it's a lot of stuff. And mix that half a cup of rice with, that cabbage.
Yeah.
And let's say those green grams or lentils and stuff, you have a good meal right there. Because if you mix your legumes and your beans, that's great protein intake. It's plant-based. It's mixed, so you get different proteins. You have the rice and you have the veggies. So it's a complete plate. You don't need to go eat nonsense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be expensive. Nowadays, okay, inflation, sure. But even eggs, you can have eggs, porridge, things that aren't too costly, seasonal fruit, bananas, mango, papaya, watermelon, things that are found locally that don't cost too much, but still get the job done. But because people want to say, oh, I'm having this, or I'm having that brand, or this product, of course, if you go always buy salmon, it's expensive. We're in Kenya. We don't produce salmon. So it's going to be expensive. Whereas tilapia, not so expensive. Great for you still. And if you want to change things up, snapper. Whatever fish is accessible, whatever protein is accessible that you find locally, doesn't have to be expensive. But it always depends what you as a person are wanting out of it,
Yeah. And I feel sometimes athletes, or we get, because I was once an athlete,
you see, you're never not an athlete.
Yeah.
Once an athlete, always an athlete.
So we feel, or sometimes you feel like nutrition is expensive because of what you just said. Sometimes we think of the brands, and the promotion or things that are happening. I want to be associated with this and this and this, instead of just also just being real and using the food that's available. And if you can paint a picture of an athlete who has about 300 to 500 shillings to spend per day, what kind of meal would you prepare with that?
100%. I'll give you a few options for each different macronutrient. So if we're going carbs, cheap options, potatoes. Cheap options include rice, plantain. Okay, so those are three great, relatively cheap options that you can go for. They're locally sourced. Great. I'll give you a fourth, porridge. Okay, so we can think about morning as well. If we're looking protein, we're looking for cheap options. Eggs are a great source of protein. We're also thinking different beans and legumes, not expensive. And I would say tilapia doesn't have to be too expensive, but there's also other types of maybe not big name fish that you can, sardines.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'll just leave it at that. Sardines, I'm glad you do. For as much as they put me off, they are an insane product. Like the amount of protein those little things have, and the amount that they cost is so little. So they're such a functional food. My dad loves them. Tell my dad, I have a sardine for you. He's like, thank you. Yeah. I'll take the entire thing. Sardines are an insane product.
Yeah.
And in terms of vegetables, if we're thinking, again, relatively cheap, but good for you, all the greens. You have your sukuma, your spinach, they're not expensive. If you have the cabbage, as we were saying, not expensive. These are all locally sourced products that are cheap and readily available, and they get everything done. They give you everything you need. Then obviously, if you want to think variety, because again, another big part of nutrition is variety. It's keeping your body, the intake different. So not always having the same thing. Switch things about, have fun with it. Use different colors, use different things the world or the earth gives you during different times of the year. So right now it's not mango season, clearly, because there's no mangoes anywhere and I can't make mango juice and it's irking me. But that's because right now we don't need that. It's not too hot. we need things that are a bit higher in that energy to keep us warm because the weather is kind of cold. So, the soups come in, the more energy dense foods come in, the nutrient dense foods come in. Whereas during the summer, or the warmer seasons, we're not as hungry. So it's the fresh produce that comes in, more fruits, the papayas, the mangoes, the pineapple, because that's what our body needs, because that's when we sweat more and we lose a lot more liquid. So again, it's very seasonal. You need to think about what is available during that season or time of year, because that's what's going to be cheaper as well.
Sardines are really, really, really overlooked.
Insanely.
Yeah, and this builds to the next question. It doesn't have to be sardines though, but which is one of the most affordable meal in Kenya, but it is hugely overlooked by athletes.
I think there are two of them. The first is beans and legumes.
I didn't know that you can mix beans and legumes until you said it. Yeah.
So animal protein is well different from plant protein. They have the similar properties, but animal protein gives you complete proteins, meaning they give you all essential amino acids that your body needs in order to create a protein. And amino acids are basically just blocks. So see it like this. Sorry, I'm using pops I'm a very visual person. So these are all, let's say, building blocks, amino acids, right? Animal proteins.
Are you able to put them a little bit higher?
Oh, shall we like do it? Okay. So animal proteins essentially already come built like this, right? A complete protein. This, when you ingest it, it's great because your body just uses what this is, breaks down, uses the functions, the amino acids. Whereas legumes, maybe kidney beans have one, chickpeas have one, and let's say lentils have one. Okay. When you mix them, you're combining everything together. And so you're getting at least some of the 8 complete amino acids or essential amino acids that we need in order to then process in our body. So it's just a combination of the different amino acids in our body. And that's the main difference between plants and animals. So mixing the legumes is a great way to get more protein in and different types of protein in. So I feel like that's a big element that lacks in Kenya, because we overlook the fact that legumes are so readily accessible, and a lot of the food based here is based off of legumes, but also the meat side of things. Nutrition is a very cultural thing. So it's very cultural specific, and a Kenyan cannot have the same diet European has. Their body is genetically built to have certain things. So obviously, if I give a European nyama choma and sukuma and rice every day, all day, they're probably not going to see benefits. Whereas if I give a Kenyan a Mediterranean diet with tomatoes and basil and stuff like that, they're not going to see changes. So again, Kenyans need the nyama choma, they need certain meats, they need the ugali, but let's think about things that are a bit more easily digestible. Nyama choma can be quite hefty. The meat used is not as lean, it's just higher in the fats. So instead of that, we look for foods that are a little easier to digest and give us more protein instead of more fat. And that's, your sardines. That's the chicken. That's the eggs. That's the legumes, right? In terms of, let's say, substituting the ugali or the chapati, for as tasty as they are, you can have them once in a while. But again, think tactical. Think the rice and the porridge and things that maybe other sorts of wheats that we do have accessible, but we might not want to use as much. So just referring back, I think the biggest mistake and it's not a mistake per se, it's just lack of education nowadays, because we're losing that sense of being in touch with nature and with what it gives us. But it's just trying to think that I don't need these products, I just need convenience foods. Things that will act quickly, things that are tastier because of the amount of conservatives they have and fats and sugars they have, and that don't take me time to make. Because a meal like that takes time to make. Whereas fast, convenient other foods don't, you know?
So you mentioned one, which is legumes.
Legumes, sardines.
And sardines.
Eggs. We'll give you three.
Oh,
legumes, eggs, and sardines.
Sardines.
Yeah.
Three
of them.
There you go. And I mean, I think most clients will always talk about protein. In sports, protein. It's a hot topic for athletes who can't afford supplements.
What's the best way to go about it?
Yep.
I think that protein is very hard to get in, with the main reason being it's quite a hefty thing to have to eat because it takes a while to digest as well. So before I get into this whole protein discussion, please, and for the life of God, don't overdo protein because that also comes with its consequences. You need the right amount for your body weight. And if you don't know what that is, consult a professional. That's what we're here for. We're here to guide you. Different points of your training require different amounts of protein per kilo of your body weight. And different sports require different requirements too. If you're an endurance athlete, you need something. If you're a power athlete, you need something. If you're just a general athlete that does a combination of things, a hybrid of things, then that's something else. So again, there's no one rule for all of them. The buildup of protein can result in a buildup of nitrates as well, which is not what we want in our body. So I think that what's important for people to understand is protein being such a big thing in sports, carbs also, which is something people don't think about because carbs are what give you energy. Yep. But for protein, that normal amount is what you're looking for. Every meal that you have, be it those 3 main meals a day that you should be having, should have some sort of protein. Let's say in the morning, eggs, easiest thing to get in. For lunchtime, maybe chicken or fish or the sardines, whatever is easily accessible. And in the evening, think legumes, think another type of protein that you haven't had during the day. Again, we're just cycling through those 3 main proteins that we spoke about just before: eggs, sardines, and legumes. Okay? Great sources of protein, give you high amounts of protein every time you eat them, and they get the job done. Okay? They're not too costly. Perfect. What athletes may be missing out on is prioritizing protein and not carbs enough. Carbs are great. I think especially if you're an endurance athlete, a power athlete, carbs give you that initial energy. So you need to have them. But mind you, they need to be the carbs that are easily digestible. They can't be carbs that are going to sit on your stomach and Dan, you're going to feel like, oh, I could go sleep after this because I've just had a hefty meal here. That's not the aim. The aim is to be able to have a little bit of that sugar spike, then let you go do your training or your competition or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, if it's a PB time. And that comes from the white rice and the potatoes because they're the cheapest options and they're the ones that get the most done, right? So here we also have sweet potatoes, the plantain, the pumpkin, again, very cheap products that give you a lot of things, a lot of food for just buying a pumpkin. And it's quite cheap. So you buy a full pumpkin, not too expensive, but it lasts a while. Yeah. Especially if you mix products. So if you mix your pumpkin with your potatoes, you're not just finishing that pumpkin in 2 days, you're elongating the amount of time you have it for because you're mixing the potatoes in or the beetroots or whatever it is, whatever else it is.
And as we speak of proteins, you're having some protein.
I have some protein pops.
Tell us about the protein pops.
Let me tell you about the protein pops. So the Power Pops essentially came up as a joke. I started this product because when I came back from uni, I was like, I need a snack that just tastes like what it says it tastes like, doesn't sit heavy on my stomach, isn't a whole bar that's like 15,000 calories, doesn't make me feel guilty, and is also just natural products. So I started experimenting with these in my kitchen, and then I got too invested. I enjoyed saying that I rolled balls for a living. And then these babies were born. And then I got into the graphic design things, and I was like, I like making the labels. And then working with USN allowed me to also integrate the ones I'm about to show you. But protein pops are essentially just the branch off of Power Pops. So Power Pops are a functional snack that have dates and cashews as a base. They are, depending on the flavor, I have 4 different main flavors: the chocolate, the orange chocolate, the lemon, and the salted caramel. So everyone kind of gets their own pick. I feel like everyone has their flavor, their signature flavor. But it's a great pre-workout snack because it has those simple sugars, the dates, but it also has the cashews, which give you the healthy fats, and a tiny bit of that protein. The rest of the ingredients are all natural because, let's say, active charcoal, antioxidants, cocoa powder, unsweetened. Obviously, please God forbid, we don't have added sugar. People are like, added sugar? No. No. Why don't you add sugar? No, that's not the point. Okay. The cocoa powder also has polyphenols, helps detox the body. The lemon zest, it's organic, healthy fats, and it's that added natural essence that you're getting. The peanuts, the salt, electrolytes, if you need that kick when you do your exercise, it's just all there to reintegrate. The protein pops are the same concept. The base is the same, cashews and dates, but we're adding some protein powder, meaning that these are perfect post-workout. The rule we have is before your workout, you need things that give you energy. You don't need things high in protein. You need things higher in carbs. Carbs are the first source of energy we go to when we exercise. That's the first thing we burn. Proteins help regenerate the muscles after they've been broken down. What we were saying before, muscles break down when we exercise to be rebuilt into being stronger. The ratio between your protein and your carb in the food intake you have after your workout needs to be well balanced. Can't be too much of one, can't be too much of the other. The ratio here is what we're looking for. We have that balance between your protein powder, not too much of it, otherwise it feels like you're just eating some friggin', I don't know, bar of protein that's stoppy and like you can't even chew it. And it has the right balance of carbs too, not too sweet, just the right amount to give you that energy replenishment. So all of the stores that you used up, you then replenish, right? I was playing around with the flavors and I started off replicating the standard flavors. And I was like, no, that just doesn't work for me. So we came up with the own protein powder flavors: Power Pop, non-protein, protein pop with protein. Working alongside USN has been great because they've allowed me to explore this more, and we're able to just put out that awareness that it doesn't have to be super processed in order to taste good and be functional. So these are perfect post-workout. We have red velvet, vanilla, coconut, chocolate, and then sometimes limited edition flavors using limited edition protein flavors, just to keep things fun, you know?
Yep.
I think too many times do we go for things that have an ingredient list that we don't even understand. That's what terrifies me the most. If I can't read the first 2 ingredients, then I'm like, what's happening? And people don't care. They look at the packet, they're like, that looks pretty in my basket, you know? So my aim is to make the packaging look nice, make the ingredient list super short, so people, it's a win-win. You know, packaging looks nice and it's healthy for me. For health conscious people, they'll read the label, easy to read. For not so much, they'll see the packaging and be like, oh, that just looks pretty, I'll go for it.
Yeah, like that's the Caribbean. You like the Caribbean?
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like the colors.
Yeah.
So this is using a limited edition partnership that USN has with another company of protein powder. It gives it a more like Caribbean tropical flavor to it. Very taste bud specific as well. Again, the flavors call to the person. People need to vibe with the flavor and they need to find their flavor. So everyone has their flavor, and I think there's beauty in that because it's kind of like having your own aura. Your flavor works for you, and it works for you not just because you like the color of the packaging or the taste, but because the products within and the elements within the ingredient list also are what your body needs. And that's again you your body telling you what you need and speaking for you depending on the flavor that you reach for.
So how long will a packet last an athlete?
Ideally, Guys,
you can just take it as
ideally contributes to your one serving size is 4 squares. So every time you eat one or you eat a pop, like if you open the packet and you're like, okay, I'm going to have pops, maximum 4. Please don't overdo. I know it's like candy here, just like yep, but yeah, exactly. The protein ones you would like to have at least 4 bites. Each bite is about 7 grams. Whereas the power pops you would like to have at least 2 or 3. Bigger, so they're balls, 15 grams each. So 2 or 3 are perfect. There's 6 in here, they're 14 in here. Okay. So again, everything is written on the label, but it's just that discipline to say enough. 4 is fine. 4 is fine. Hence the 4 is fine. Hence the bars. So the bars are the same concept. It's just that it's one protein pop, but 4 of them are connected. So 1 bar is perfect because it's 1 serving. And you can, instead of biting it off, you could just take it off. So if you don't want the entire thing, you can have half of it now, half of it later, a quarter of it now, and so on, 3/4 of it later.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing that.
The protein. Everyone loves that protein. It's just a way of getting that additional help. We're not reliant on the supplements. This is, again, just something to aid your recovery because, again, recovery is a fundamental part of your nutrition. And it's a tasty way of saying, okay, it's kind of like, I need to have this, but at least it tastes nice, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, social media, which we are in, is full of nutrition advice.
Advice, or like, I don't know if I can call that advice. I don't know. I have anxiety when I go on socials. It's like all of these people are claiming to be nutritionists, and I'm like, what are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying. And everyone has their own recipes. Okay, I'll let you finish the question, then I'll go on to my rant.
What are some of the most common myths or trends that you've come across that athletes should stop believing in immediately?
Quick fixes. The fact that if I take this supplement, performance is going to double. That's not how it works. If you ace your food intake, then being an athlete will then come naturally. Whereas nowadays, we rely on supplements to perform in certain ways. So obviously, new standards have now been set. And the people that prefer not to take supplements, the athletes that prefer not to take supplements or don't have the access to the supplements, obviously might not meet those standards because they don't have that additional help. So the fact that we're now so reliant on all these supplements, and mind you, again, with USN, we do an incredible job together. But we never just fully make people rely on the supplements. They're there to help aid you. That's the name, supplement. They supplement. They don't replace. So now these standards have been set. Trying to bring those standards back down on saying, let's just rely on food is never going to happen because new timings are set, new world records are set, new expectations are set. So come to a country that's a bit less developed with less accessibility to these things. When they go out to do international competitions, they're going to be like, what's happening? I mean, my timings are great for certain standards. Come to international standards, I'm not performing as well. Well, that's because our world is now too reliant on things that don't naturally make us be athletes anymore. We're no longer pushing our bodies to the limits in ways that we used to. The Olympics nowadays are for people that look like friggin', I don't know what, Zeus. Like it's not natural anymore. Yep. Whereas once upon a time, a certain amount of people could only be able to do those things because they were predisposed to pushing their body to that limit. Michael Phelps, he's genetically predisposed to being a fish because that's his arms are longer. He's literally got some webbing in his feet. His power is insane. His lung capacity is different. That's an athlete. That's what an athlete should be. Not the fact that I take protein powder every night and I will perform this way, or I will take creatine to help me perform. Creatine is great for when you reach a certain age and your body is unable to produce certain things anymore.
Which is?
30.
30. Okay.
Boys, especially, watch yourselves, because when you get to 30, you're going to have to start focusing on the fact that you might not be doing too much exercise anymore.
Yeah.
And you need to maintain that muscle and that testosterone level, keeping your body active. Women as well, but we're just, it's from when we were born that we get all the shit from everywhere. Yeah. So we'll bleep that out. But it's muscle loss is a big thing. So that's when supplements come in a little handier. So I secretly put protein powder in my grandma's porridge in the morning, because in her Weetabix, because she doesn't get enough protein. She's never hungry, and your body just doesn't absorb as much anymore. So that's when you should start thinking, okay, this is when the aid will come in handy. As athletes, when you when you stop doing as much training as you've been doing, you will probably see changes in your body. You'll probably put on weight. You'll probably see things and you're like, this never happened to me before. It's completely normal. You're not training as much as you used to, and your body systems are slowing down. So trying to stay on top of your everyday physical activity, even if it's just those 10 to 15 minutes a day, but you're doing something because your body's so used to moving. And also maybe just reducing your food intake, rewiring your plate, and what you're eating, not as many carbs, maybe a little bit more protein, more veggies, then you might be able to manage things a bit better. I've had a lot of people say, yeah, I used to do this sport and now I don't, and I'm just so different to what I used to be. It's just because you've always been training so much and so hard, and you've always been eating certain ways tactically because of your tournaments and your competitions, that now things have changed. So your mentality just needs to shift a little bit. But again, that's just a lack of awareness on what's happening. And it's that saying that I can just keep doing what I used to do when I was younger and I'll be fine. Your body does change. Hence why you need to start listening to it a bit more.
And recovery is, speaking of listening to your body, recovery is key, and that's where growth happens. For an athlete, for an active person, what are some of the nutritional foods or meals that aid recovery? I know you already mentioned some already, but if you can, touch on that again.
I think in terms of recovery, there are a few elements that really impact recovery. You're looking at the active recovery days, that mobility, as we were saying before with Pilates as well. For nutrition, you're looking at the sleep aspect. So making sure you're getting that quality sleep, because during sleep, your body detoxes and your body also repairs. So that's fundamental. And the third aspect of it is your nutrition. For recovery, in order to not feel that pain that your body will be feeling because of lactic acid buildup, having the right amount of protein post-workout within a certain time frame is fundamental. That's the trick. Say you do a competition. As soon as you finish your race, within 30 minutes, you should have something that's slightly high in protein and carbs.
Within 30 minutes?
Within 30 minutes. Because during that time window, your body is like, give me something, please. I need to start repairing. That's when the most effective repairing happens. If you wait too long after that because like, I'm just not hungry, then your body will start to break down what it has in order to feed the muscles that are hurting. So, and you're just breaking down other muscles to feed muscles. So nothing is happening. And in that case, you'll also just not recover properly because you're going to have that buildup. It's an experiment that everyone can try. Have a hard training session and don't have a proper meal afterwards. Don't have the right amount of carbs, don't have the right amount of protein. You'll wake up the morning after and you will be so sore, like so sore. I can vouch for this. I did a CrossFit competition once and I felt that and I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. So fundamental. After that 30 minutes, you're good to like stay for another 2 to 4 hours without a main meal. within those 2 to 4 hours after that competition or that final stretch that you did, you want a proper meal, not a fast food meal, not a, we celebrate eating a burger from a fast food chain, fried chicken and chips. Think clean. The only way your body is going to detox what it's just gone through, think of like a tube. If you put dirty water in, that's not going to help. You know, you're not cleansing your body. You're filling that tube up with dirty water. To get rid of that dirty water, you're going to have to put a lot of clean water, a lot. Yeah. Whereas if that tube you put clean water in first, then you don't need as much clean water in order to keep it cleansed and detoxed. So you want a proper clean meal. Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to the rice, potatoes, pumpkin. Let's go back to the cabbage, the sukuma, the greens. Let's go back to the fish or the legumes, the chicken. That's the meal you want. In terms of portions, you want about a quarter plate being protein, about half your plate being the veggies, and a quarter plate being your carbs. And that way you're balancing that ratio we were speaking about, but you're also getting the fiber, the natural sugars from the veggies, the vitamins, the minerals that will then help detox your body. Okay? It's fundamental. So when you go to bed, your recovery process can kick in. Your glycogen, so your sugar stores, are replenished from the carbs that you had. Your protein is being replenished as well, so your muscles can rebuild. And your body's just being detoxed from the stress that you put on your body through the vitamins and the minerals.
And an example, like just the other day, I did about 10.55.
Damn.
I'd like to give a real example. So I did 10.55. I was super hungry within that 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I made a mistake. I didn't take nothing because I did that. Then I got back to work.
Yeah.
Then
time constraints.
Yeah. Then I ate dinner late, 7:30. But I had about half a chicken.
Because you were so hungry.
Yeah. I had veggies, which are just the local greens mixed up.
Yeah.
Kienyeji, we call it kienyeji,
Yeah.
you know it. Then two scones.
Yeah.
Was that balanced or I missed on something?
I think not too bad. Veggies tick, half a chicken. Well, you know what? You're a tall guy, hey? So I wouldn't even say no, but maybe a bit too much. We could have gotten a bit of that protein a bit earlier on. So let's say instead of half a chicken, it could have been a little less than half, but it's okay. In terms of the carb parts, I would have opted for maybe the pumpkin or the potato, something that's more complex. So something that would release its sugars a bit slower, because it also, complex carbs relax us at night. They release hormones from our body that calm us down, makes it easier to sleep. We're talking things like sweet potatoes or pumpkin, brown rice, brown flour, whole grain products that just relax us. Whereas if we opt for the white sugars or the simple carbs, so the white rice, the scones, the white potatoes, they just spike our energy levels. So we might even find it a little harder to fall asleep compared to the other carbs. Another thing I missed is hydration. Yeah. So I know a lot of us are. A lot of us are. People rely on being thirsty to then drink water. Wrong. 100% wrong. This is something I read when I first started this journey. Never wait up until you're thirsty to have water. Keep sipping during the day. Carry water with you. The ability to become dehydrated is so easy. Anything can dehydrate you, be it traveling, be it maybe being out in the sun too much, be it you are sweating a lot, anything can dehydrate you. So water, always have it around, always sip on it. For athletes, electrolytes. Now, for people that cannot afford prepackaged electrolytes, you can make electrolytes or electrolyte-rich substances at home by putting in some salt in your water, lemon slices, maybe have a watermelon, because again, watermelon, it's a hefty thing, hey? Yeah. You can juice that. So you could just squish it, sieve it, and that's your watermelon juice. Add some salt, add some lemon, happy days, or lime. Natural electrolytes. Super good for replenishing all the minerals that we lost during our sweat. So after your exercise, after your workout, after your competition, your race, whatever it is, replenishing your electrolytes is also fundamental.
On to the quick fire segment. Ready?
Oh,
ready?
I'm ready.
One food every athlete should always have in their kitchen.
Eggs.
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 Why?
Because high in protein, high in the healthy fats. It's a complete product that doesn't cost too much and is great for a snack, a main meal, and easy to cook. And you can make it in 1,000 different ways. Wow. Mind you, I really don't like eggs. If you don't like eggs, I'll give you another one. I would say maybe always have something high in protein, but also, see, this is now where things get hard. I'm thinking about what I would eat, and I don't eat a lot. So this is going to be interesting. Maybe Weetabix. Fine, it's not high in protein, but if you're an athlete and you need the carbs, it's great with the carbs. So Weetabix. Yeah.
Most overrated sports nutrition product.
Oh, no, I'm going to get lynched for this. No. If I say the one I have in my mind, I'm going to get lynched. I'm going to be completely... Okay. I will say protein powder.
Protein powder.
Protein powder.
All right. one habit that instantly improves athlete performance. One habit.
One habit, consistency.
Consistency.
Consistency in your training. Consistency in your active recovery. Consistency in your nutrition. And consistency in your sleep. Be the pain in the ass of the family. Be the one that says, no, I don't want to go there because I have to wake up early tomorrow for my training. You need to do that. If you're going to be an athlete that succeeds, you need to be strict with yourself. You need to be disciplined. You need to be consistent. So yeah. Consistency.
Consistency. We have about 3 more questions, and this is usually from the viewers' corner.
Okay.
Some of them maybe you have tackled already. So they say coach. They're calling you coach.
Coach, love it.
I live in a boarding school, and what are the simplest nutrition habits I can adopt with limited food choices?
So I think the easiest way to go about this is, instead of focusing on what food products to opt for, because you don't have the ability to cook for yourself, you might already find that the boarding school has prepared the food. Let's shift our focus to what my plate should look like. Think performance plate. How should my plate look like in order for me to get the best out of what I'm eating and what the boarding school is offering me? So when you build your plate, make sure half of it, depending on the time, if you're training, half of it have a carb option, whatever carb option is around. And if we don't know what our carb option is, Jermaine, we're going to have to do a whole interview on what macronutrients are and which ones they are.
Yeah, I know.
So carbs, we're looking at the potatoes, the rice, anything that will give you that fast fire energy. The other half of the plate, split it into your vegetables and into your protein performance plate, because that's going to give you energy for when you need to train. Recovery plate, half of it is your veggies, a quarter of it is your protein, a quarter of it is your carb options. So view it that way. Instead of saying, I need to have this type of protein, no, I need to make sure my plate looks like this. We can work on like a plate that is like performance plate and recovery plate.
Perfect. So if I got it right, performance plate, half of it is carbs.
Yeah.
Quarter of it is veggies. The other one protein.
Yeah.
Recovery plate, half of it is veggies.
Yeah.
Quarter carbs.
Yeah.
Quarter proteins. Yeah. There you go. Great intelligence here.
There you go. Boarding school, you have nothing on us, man. Yeah. We have tricked you. Don't even come at us.
Second one, are supplements really necessary, or can an athlete reach elite levels without using them? This is putting you on the spot.
It's putting me on the spot. I will tell you, I will also might get lynched for this. Supplements, I think when you are a naturally talented athlete, you don't need them. You don't need them because it comes naturally. Your body is an engine. In today's day, because of the new standards that have been set, you might be expected to take them. Otherwise, you are never going to naturally reach the levels that we're looking for today. Without, can we bleep out any brands that I might mention involuntarily?
Yep.
But in certain cases, some people rely on like energy drinks to caffeine boost, boom, let's go for it. I don't know what else is in those energy drinks. Those energy drinks have so much of that sugar, so much of that nonsense that in the long run might not actually be good for you. And they might cause things that you don't want happening as you get older. The lack of maybe your skin becoming a bit weaker, a bit more wrinkled, you not being able to process certain things. It's a one thing after the other that you don't notice now, but in the long run, you might notice as you get older. So you don't necessarily need supplements. Supplements, again, are just there to help aid. They just add that extra kick. So no, you don't need supplements. If you ace your food intake, you do not need supplements. If now we're looking to set certain standards, we might need to consider adding a few here and there. And that's what we do with USN. With certain sports teams, we add a little bit here and there. If we see that they need this, we educate them on how to take it, why they need it, and that's why we then give it to them. We don't just put them directly on the supplements and tell them you need to be reliant on this. It's about education first, how those supplements can affect you, what effects they have on you, and how they then can benefit performance. And again, tactical timing of those supplements.
Yeah. The third and last one on that, viewers corner. Earlier we spoke about 500, 300. So they shoot higher. So if you had only 2,000 per week.
We
have more. Yeah. 2,000 per week to feed a competitive athlete. What would your shopping basket look like?
Now, it seems like this is a lot more, but if you're a competitive athlete, you're also eating a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot, especially if you're a guy.
Yeah.
Okay, mind you, my brother, when he used to do a lot of sport in high school, especially when you're going through that age, Jesus, I feel bad for parents because they eat a lot. So please go for your chicken. And yes, get a full chicken. Don't bother getting chicken breast. Just get a full chicken. Cook it full because at least you're going to be able to split that into quarters or at least a third. But a full chicken is, halves. Maybe not halves. Maybe not halves. Yeah. But anytime you buy something in bulk or something that's full, it's cheaper. Yeah. So full chicken, full cabbage, and let's say potatoes. Or if we want to make it a bit different, you can go for a full fish. You can opt for, let's say, full pumpkin. And I'm thinking really basic foods here. Yeah. Mind you, I'm not saying pasta. I'm not saying foods like pasta or foods like, I don't know, a steak. Those are costly because now brands have created their names. They're going to be expensive. And if you buy cheaper brands, they're obviously not going to use products that are of high quality. So let's go back to products that are naturally high quality. And that is, the rice and the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the plantain. You can maybe make chapati without having to fill it up with oil. Again, great product because it's essentially bread without yeast, doesn't bloat us. You can also go for legume-based products, avocados, seasonal fresh fruit, bananas, porridge. Again, porridge doesn't cost a lot. Better yet, even just oats, crushed oats, things that are not expensive, raw, so not processed, but give you the right amount of things. So let's say if we're looking breakfast, you have your egg option, your avocado, you can have your porridge on the side. If you want some fruit in there, you can add some seasonal fruit, bananas, mangoes. Right now, what do we even have right now? Barely have apples. There's watermelon. Sometimes.
Yes.
If we're thinking lunch and dinner, use the same formula, some sort of protein, be that chicken or your fish, or your legumes. You can have the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the rice, the beetroots, the complex carbs, and then the veggies. You can mix the greens. You can have the peas. You can have the sweet corn. You can have the sukuma. You can have the cabbage. So things that with one product make a lot. Yeah. So you don't have to keep on going to the supermarket or keep spending on things.
The biggest, as we wrap it up, nutrition truth athletes need to believe. We started with the biggest nutrition lies athletes believe. So the biggest nutrition truth athletes
that athletes need to believe.
Yep.
I think, again, I'll get lynched for this. And I think it's because people don't follow this anymore. Be consistent. Put your head down. Be humble about what you do. Believe in what you do. There's no point in you telling me, yeah, my diet is so balanced. And then you just, after your training, go and have a bunch of, it's like, is it really balanced? Be honest with yourself. What I've seen in the past is if you are consistent, if you follow your discipline with your, with your balance in life, because life is always a balance. But if your main goal is to get to that spot, nothing should stop you from that. Don't look for easy ways out. Again, be consistent, be humble, do your thing, and don't rely on what all of this talk is saying right now. Lock it out, have your goal, focus on your goal, because with that, with time, you will notice changes. It's not the quick game that we're trying to look for. It's the long run that we're trying to look for. It's that I succeeded. I won my gold because I won my gold. I didn't win my gold because I was reliant on this, and that. Doping is going to be on your ass. And honestly, with how the world is going now, you might get away with it the first few times because bribing. Being an elite athlete is no joke. You're going to want to do it. That little bug is going to come into your ear saying, I need that help. I need that supplement. I need this. It's going to help me. You're going to convince yourself that it's going to help you, but it might not. It most likely will not. It actually might put your career or your life at your goal at risk. So stay natural. If you're invest in the people that will help you, and try not to do it alone. Your coach is always going to be there. Your team is always going to be there. Individual sports, again, coach is going to be there. And in Kenya, this is growing. Look for reliable people. And I say that as if it's easy, but people that word of mouth is, I think, the biggest way that we get to be known with what we do. Be it a good coach, be it a good physiotherapist, be a good mental coach, a good nutritionist, because it's all trial and error. Yeah. A coach will never know how what he's given you will react with you. He's going to have to change a few things. Physiotherapist is the same. He might touch you here and then be like, no, that's not worked. So he might try another approach. Nutrition is the same. You need to build that trust, that relationship. That's why it's so slow burning, because it takes so much time to be able to have that. And that's why you see with a lot of athletes, you have, oh, but my dad used to be my coach, because there is that connection already. That trust is already there. So if there's one thing I want to say is Kenya's my home. This, as much as it might not seem like it is,
No,
this is the country that I've always known I wanted to come back to and represent, because I feel like it's the country that has so much potential. It's the country that I would be most proud to represent. But too often do we see that we're opting for people that have done a 2-week course, that haven't had the preparation to then be able to give the best of education in the sports that we need and in the fields that we need. Going away to study has helped me open my eyes and seeing what other countries have been doing and how they've been doing it and how far behind we are here. And that's what maybe hinders a lot of athletes, because we don't have that knowledge of, or those standards of saying, you want a gold, honey, great. That doesn't matter in a few weeks' time. It's not one gold that we're looking for. It's as many as we can get. It's how consistent we can be. Hence why I keep going back to that consistency word, because it's the fact that, you have these standard systems that are in place in different countries that work for all of these athletes that come in, and the athletes don't just think that they've won the world when they win a gold. For them, it's like, okay, that's great. That's one done. It's not the materialistic thing that they're looking at. It's their timing, it's their performance, it's how they feel, it's their recovery after it. That's something I feel like we're lacking massively here. And it's something that I think can grow in the right hands. If it can grow slowly, maybe even with limited funding, but it's still something that can grow if there's willingness from other people too. So
goodwill is key.
Oh yeah,
Goodwill is
key, honey.
Yep,
Goodwill
always,
is key,
always.
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and we appreciate what you do, Fed, in many creative ways. The pop, the honesty and intentionality towards love for Kenya and for sports in Kenya to develop and grow. And we see that as Wima Sports, and we appreciate you for that. Definitely looking forward to second 3, 4, 5.
I'm so excited. I'm also very grateful for you guys. Having you guys reach out was an insane honor, because again, nutrition is very slow, regardless of where you are, regardless of which country it's in. I mean, in Europe, fine, it's a bit further ahead because Europe is just further ahead. So having this opportunity to just get on here and just chat about things and just have a laugh about things, but also maybe potentially educating people is fun, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, boring, and nutrition is not boring. People are like, but healthy food doesn't taste like anything. That's a lie, okay? Not my fault that you cook bland, okay? You can add some salt, yeah? That's not a problem. It's an electrolyte. You just don't need to overdo it. But it's an honor to be able to speak to people that are like-minded and get to meet people. I feel like it's very hard to encounter people with like-minded ways of doing things. So this is a great opportunity to just bounce ideas off of each other, learning from you guys, because I still have a long way to go, and I'm so open to still learning, because that's what sport is. It just keeps developing. It keeps on growing, hopefully in the right direction and not the cheeky direction, but you know what? We do what we can, and we take what we can, and we enjoy the process for as much as it is. So yeah, thank you guys as well.
Thank you so much. Viewers, until next time, it's your host signing out, Jermaine.